Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by...
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
Yeah, and apparently it's very cold over there because you're wearing a
It
pretty
is.
pretty thick jacket there, and you said you had the heater on. It's kind of the opposite here in LA. It's pretty hot. It's getting pretty... Summer has finally arrived, even though we had a weird thing where there was like thunder yesterday.
I heard about that, yeah.
But no rain. Like it sprinkled like a little bit of rain. It was like thundering for like 3 hours, and then there was like a drizzle of a little light rain, and that's it. It was very I don't know, almost like a tease for but it's like blazing hot outside. So I don't really get it.
The weather is weird, man. It's even though it's cold out here, there's like moments throughout the day where it's like not like hot but warm, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like not cold, if that's a better way of putting it. It's like it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Mother Nature's scary, man. Yeah, but it is cold here. Yeah, I decided to put a jacket on to make myself look a bit more presentable. I was wearing like a gown, like a fluffy gown, to make myself all warm and cozy.
When you first came on camera, I thought you had just taken a shower and that you had
And you thought it was
the towel. Yeah, I thought it was the towel. I was like, Josh, you can take that off now. We don't,
Yeah, we didn't. It's not.
we don't have to film with it. But anyways, back to what we're here to talk about, which is games. This is our weekly video game podcast here. We had the last episode that we had just had a ton of like brand new news with the Xbox Showcase, with the Summer Game Fest, some Sony news, all that good stuff. This week, there's still a good amount of news, but it's not quite as, I don't know, industry breaking or whatever, as ground shaking as the last week. But there's still some good stuff out there. There was kind of let's start off with this. There was an interview with Bethesda's Todd Howard, and he talked about, mainly they're asking about Starfield, but they did get a little nugget out from him that wasn't Starfield related, which was Fallout. And he basically confirmed that Fallout 5 will be the next game after Elder Scrolls 6. So Starfield is coming out probably in the first few months, we're guessing, of next year. Elder Scrolls 6, they still say, is in pre-production phase, which, not quite sure.
That could be a 5-6 year thing still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
realistically speaking. I think Fallout 5, realistically, the soonest we're going to get that is maybe 12 years from now, like 14 years from now if we're lucky.
Yeah, that's a long time.
I know, dude, but that's what I'm saying.
Maybe
sooner than that. I just know that they're going to spend years, even though they're in pre-production for Elder Scrolls, they're still going to spend at least another 5 years on that.
Okay, before Starfield, what was the game they did before? Well, it's Fallout 76.
I think it was, yeah.
So how many years? That was 2018 or 19? Can't remember. Let me see. Fallout 76. I mean, it came out in 2018, even though we all said like it needed to come out in 2019. So let's just say 2018. Yeah. That was 4 years ago, and then Starfield's coming out next year, so that's 5 years. So in that cycle, let's say Starfield comes out 2023. Well, it is.
Yeah, but to be fair though, as well, with Fallout 76, there was a lot of assets from Fallout 4, same engine kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it still had a ton of bugs. So 2028, let's say hypothetically, that's 5 years from now for Elder Scrolls 6, and do another 5 years. Yeah, it's gonna be
it's like a decade away at least, minimum. You know what I mean?
10 to 12 years,
possibly
probably
longer possibly longer with delays.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 12 years realistically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For them to take their time with it and do it good. But yeah, it's still exciting news for him to bring that up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That does mean that they have an end goal for the Elder Scrolls 6 as well. For them to be considering Fallout 5, that must mean that they have their entire idea for the Elder Scrolls wrapped up at least.
Yeah. But that is a ways away. But Bethesda's a big company. I'm wondering, with all the different companies that are now under the Microsoft banner, including Obsidian. which had done Fallout New Vegas that they had outsourced to. Like, I guess they want to do it themselves. They don't trust someone else with it. I don't know exactly. You know what? I mean, honestly, I think the reception that Starfield gets is going to determine
Yeah.
determine how.
I'm a little iffy on Starfield at the moment. I'll be honest. What I saw most of it, like all the RPG stuff looked fantastic.
Mhm.
The gun mechanics definitely need polish in my opinion. Like the combat definitely needs polish. But everything else did look quite interesting and fun. Not a big fan of the fact that there's going to be a transition between landing on the planet and space, but also makes sense. That's not the gimmick. That's not the point of it. If you want that, go play No Man's Sky, I suppose. There is going to be 1,000 procedurally generated planets. Well, I don't think 1,000 of them are procedurally. At least a couple. Like I'd assume, like at least 100 is going to be like handcrafted or like. They did say there's a lot of handcrafted content.
Say less than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I know there's going to be at least 20 like sick planets. There's got to
Probably.
be. You know what I mean? There's got to. And then I really, and I said this in the previous podcast, and I hope that they don't waste an opportunity. With 1,000 planets, you have room for Easter egg planets, man. Get like have some really dumb, like really stupid, obscure. If you can find that 1 in 1,000 planet, why not? Like I want to see some obscure fucking references and things in there. But yeah, there is going to be a lot of handcrafted content they're saying, which is good.
Yeah.
RPG mechanics look good. I was happy with that.
They said the main quest is about 20% bigger than previous Bethesda games, so
that's
around
big,
30 to 40 hours, which it's weird because with Bethesda games, I never think about how long the main story is.
There's so much side quest.
Yes, I mean it's all about the side quest. It's
exactly. I've never finished a Bethesda game in like less than 30 hours.
Oh no!
I mean, there's no way. Like I think at best 40 hours is what I've done.
Even that's not even.
And exactly, like I think that was me playing Skyrim and just blasting through the story and not doing any side quests or joining any like crews or anything like that. It was, yeah.
That's like playing Elden Ring and not doing any quests that had nothing to do with the main quest. I
still can't believe how long it took me to find Lower Limgrave, man, or South Limgrave. That's embarrassing.
It took me a while to find the Golden Scarab, so that was embarrassing because I wasted my time
fight was
farming.
Tough, man. That was a tough. Getting the Golden Scarab is difficult, so that's impressive in its own right. To be honest, just getting to the boss fight is difficult, and then the boss fight's pretty hard too. Yeah.
I guess one last thing before Fallout, before we continue with Starfield, is where would you like it to be set? We've had Washington D.C., we had New Vegas, we had Boston. Obviously, 1 and 2 was.
Have you ever done Chicago?
I don't believe so. I think 1 and 2 was San Francisco and L.A. It San Francisco? No, it was L.A. Fallout 1. I think Fallout 1 was.
I would love for them to go back to a more iconic city, though, like. A more like internationally recognized, like either LA or New York, preferably.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that would be quite cool because then it's like you can at least add in like monuments that are recognizable.
Yeah, that's what I loved about Fallout 3 so much was like.
Yeah.
And
not that like there aren't other big major U.S. cities. It's just I'm talking from like an international recognition standpoint. You know what I mean? Everybody knows the Statue of Liberty, you know what I mean? Everyone knows the Golden Gate Bridge and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'd like New York or San Francisco. LA, obviously, I live here, so it'd be great.
I do like the setting of Fallout 76, though, I'll be honest. I do quite like that.
West Virginia?
West Virginia. I quite like that, I like a green place.
Yeah, I just don't, to be honest, I don't know much about the monuments there. Vegas, I know about, but the problem with Vegas I had, even though I did enjoy the game, even though it was buggy as hell, was Vegas is a desert wasteland anyway. You know what I mean? So
exactly, yeah.
It wasn't that different,
city, man.
Yeah, it wasn't that different.
A city too, like that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Fallout with apartment buildings,
So Fallout 1 was Southern California. But obviously that was before Bethesda, so it's we didn't really get to see it in kind of the FPS format. Fallout 2, I believe. Let's see. I used to know these off the top of my head, but I'm just like blanking right now.
I will say real quick, going back to Starfield, while you're looking up that, they said that the one city that they showed off, Atlantis, New Atlantis, it's the biggest city that they've ever made, like in any of their games ever. Considering it's space exploration, they make sense, but I'd imagine that it's still going to be like all the cities that they've ever done are very like well thought out, and there's like it's not. I know that there's not going to be like big empty spaces in the city, you know. When they say big city, I'm expecting a lot of people as well, a lot of NPCs.
I think Fallout 2 might be the same location as Fallout 1. Let me see here.
They said they said Starfield space combat is inspired by FTL and MechWarrior. I can see the inspiration from MechWarrior, the way it shoots and stuff, but I don't get the FTL unless they didn't show the whole FTL part, because FTL was like an isometric, like 8-bit kind of strategy-based game. You know what I mean? Where it's more about dealing with like the inside of your ship and what's going on rather than shooting. I don't know. So maybe there is more of that actual stuff happening of you walking around inside your ship and fixing stuff. I don't know.
I am excited to see the main cities, like you mentioned before, New Atlantis, because when they did the gameplay trailer, when they showed off those parts, they didn't really show a lot of gameplay there, but they showed like a montage of the cities. That's kind of what excites me, like going to visit there, and seeing who you can interact with and what you can do there. I do hope I don't get the Cyberpunk 2077 thing where Cyberpunk 2077 was big and large and there was a lot going on, but what you could do was very minimal. You know what I mean?
Very limited, yeah.
Very
I'd
limited.
imagine it's going to be like I'd imagine it's not going to be to that point, but I don't think there's going to be as much. Like I think of any big city in any of their games, like there'll be like maybe there'll be a bar with like a game in the bar or like an interactive thing to do in the bar, but I don't think there's going to be that many or that much. You know what I mean? But I do imagine they're having like they'll add like slice of life-esque stuff in the cities. I'd imagine, go play a game of space darts or something at a bar. Like,
well, I just want to be able to interact with people,
things like that,
and
Oh,
see what they're about.
They'll definitely do that. You'll probably be able to talk to most NPCs, I'd imagine. Even if it is like a very basic conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I have high hopes for their NPCs in this game.
Okay.
Because that is the one thing that even to this day Cyberpunk doesn't have is good NPCs.
No.
Well, I mean, good NPC like story characters, yes, but the actual general NPCs walking around, they're dumb as hell, and they have
no personality. There's no personality to them. There's no.
And the children look like adults that were shrunk. It scares me. It actually scares me.
Yeah. So that was the extent of the interview with Todd Howard. Now, something that you're more familiar with is there was a lot of Final Fantasy news.
Oh yeah, the 25th anniversary, man.
Yeah,
Exciting
including the
stuff
rebirth trailer. Also, the remake is
including rumors and
3 parts.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
which is I'm happy with, because I speculated it was possibly going to be 4 parts. Because the original game came on 4 discs. The original game was huge. It was like I could be wrong, but I believe it is the biggest game ever on the PlayStation 1. Like point blank. Like I as far as I'm concerned, dude, it came on 4 discs, man. Like 4 discs that you had to interswap out to play. I remember that. It was the same with Final Fantasy VIII, but or did that have more discs? I could be wrong. I don't know. But I remember like Final Fantasy VII came with 4 discs. So I assumed that, because I knew they were going to break it up. Like it's a huge game. I knew from the get-go when the remake was coming out, it wasn't going to be the whole game. Like I knew that because of how freaking big the game is. So yeah, I speculated it would be like in 4 parts because 4 discs. But I'm happier with 3 parts. They make it like that. There has been also like quite significant kind of changes story-wise from the original. but they were very well received. No one was like angry that like things were changed, you know. The other big news is that they said that there's going to be anyways, but yeah, so Crisis Core is getting a remake. I'm excited about it, and it's coming out this winter. The game itself really does lend itself to the current like remake or the current state of Final Fantasy VII, because the original obviously being way less polygons, it was active turn-based. This game, however, is not active turn-based. You know, the combat's a lot more, well, it's active, but a lot more hack and slashy. You know, you get more involved, which I like. And Crisis Core was also similar in that regard in the playstyle, so it makes sense for a remake. I'm excited for that. And then, like, yeah, they also said Rebirth is coming out, which is part 2. And that looks great. Like, graphically, obviously, that looked fantastic. I can't wait for that. I'm wondering about the PC release dates, though, for these things. Is it, well, if it'll be like, I wonder, okay, because Remake Integrate came out, like, way, like, not way later, but I feel like at least.
Wasn't it like a year later?
Like, I think it was just
8 months,
less than a year.
Like
yeah,
10 months or something.
I feel like it was like that. So, yeah, I'm wondering how long we'd have to wait for the PC versions of these. But either way, fantastic news all around. We also got a lot of Final Fantasy 16 news. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here real quick. Part 3 has already begun development, which is crazy because, yeah, so Part 2 is coming out, what was it, next winter. But Part 3 is already in development, which I love. That's fantastic news. That's about it. Like, they didn't really tell anything. There's nothing you really need to know about the Rebirth, about Part 2, because it's the same as Part 1, you know, gameplay-wise. It's just a continuation of the story, and there'll be things to do, you know?
What's the release date? It's in October, right? Is it, when's the release date for Part 2?
Part 2 is next
no.
winter.
Next winter, sorry.
It just is out next winter, but Crisis Core is out this winter.
Okay.
I don't know when. There was no actual date on
release
that,
date,
but it is coming out end of this year. You know, because it's a remake, I'm assuming that there will be a PC release at the same time, because they did do that with their previous game, the Stranger of Paradise, which was their version of a Souls-like game. I hated it. Some people liked it. The story looked cool, but the gameplay, I hated the gameplay. Especially because at the time Elden Ring was out, and it was like, it was like comparing an Oreo cookie with like a cake. You know what I mean? Like it paled in comparison, the gameplay. So I'm holding thumbs that the remake will come to PC at the end of this year as well. I don't want to wait too long for that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, then there was Final Fantasy news. There was news about Final Fantasy 16. The biggest news being is that it's not going to be open world, and that is also, in my opinion, from where I've been reading and all the online forums I've been checking out, for the most part, people are quite happy with that, because even I really enjoyed the big open world. Well, the previous game wasn't exactly open world. There were 3 levels, but the main stage was essentially a giant open world level. You know, like really big. I enjoyed it. Some people didn't like it. Maybe they maybe when they made that game, they realized that it's quite difficult to fill in open world and to make it work. So they're going back to like more just kind of big open world levels, keeping it a bit more linear, which is kind of what Final Fantasy's always been. But you're okay with that because the story's good, you know. So I'm quite happy with it, that they're going back to that, especially because the combat does look sick. I'm not too happy with all the flashing numbers though. It works in Final Fantasy VII because it has that like edgy steampunk like kind of era, but this is like a dark fantasy, like medieval kind of setting. I don't want to see like digital numbers flashing up on the screen in this like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But it's a small gripe of mine. Let's see, there was a lot more information about this. I think one of the things that I found interesting is that they're calling the summons icons, but it's spelled EIKONS. They got to give it some interesting spelling. Don't know why they couldn't have just spelled it normally, but they had, you know, it wouldn't be Final Fantasy, I suppose. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 currently set for summer 2023. Crisis Core Remaster comes out later this year. God, man, I am excited for it. It was a lot of Final Fantasy news. I was quite happy with all the information that dropped. It's a series that's near and dear to my heart. A lot of people know that, though. Yeah, I can't get out of all these things, though, I actually mainly can't wait to get my hands on Final Fantasy 16. As much as I did enjoy and I did currently replay Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on my PC.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, played it 2K with on like ultra graphics. It looked beautiful, ran beautiful. Had a good time with that game, but I want something new, you know, and that's why I'm more looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. I want a new story. I want a new world to explore, and it looked very like from what they have showed off. It looked a lot more like dark and like mature, almost like Game of Thronesy. You know what I mean? Where it's like, and it had that kind of feeling to it, which I like. Every single Final Fantasy has always been very edgy, and this Final Fantasy 16 looks like they didn't do that. I think, like I said, they gave the guy a beard, which I've never seen before. The protagonist is always some ridiculously like good-looking main protagonist, super spiky hair person.
Maybe
But
he'll
yeah.
shave his beard at the end of the game. Who
Who
knows?
knows? I don't know. It also looks like there could be other main characters you play as. I'm not too sure. That it looks interesting because I saw that there was like another young boy that looked like he played a big role,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see.
All right. Anything else on the Final Fantasy front before we move on?
Yeah, a couple things real quick. So I say they're called icons. It's the version of summons. Did I miss anything here? Oh, that's right. There is a puppy in the game, and it has a name, and it can be a party member, and people are freaking out over that, I suppose. Torgal is his name. Torgal. So there's the name of the dog. That's the last bit of news I had.
Okay. So speaking of remakes, we got a whole bunch of Resident Evil news from the Capcom showcase. One being the Resident Evil 4 remake. They had a trailer for that, showing that off on the PlayStation. It's going to be on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So this is definitely for next gen. Which also not coincidentally, because it's obviously at the same time, they're doing free next gen upgrades, or they already did, for Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake,
Oh, sick.
and 7. So if you have or own any of those, you can get the next gen version for free. So
Nice. I really enjoyed 7.
Mm-hmm. And then 4, what's interesting about 4 is the one that actually got recently remade for VR.
VR, yeah.
So there is a VR version on the Quest, but now they're doing a full-on next-gen remake for it. So
Speaking of VR, I know this is not one of the things we're covering, but I just realized that I have the option to play Half-Life Alyx, and I just never have.
yeah, you can
Because it's on Steam, it's right there, and in my opinion, the AirLink works fantastic. Like I find very little latency, like if any, if at all. So I'm definitely gonna pick up Half-Life Alyx. And then try that game out. I'm looking forward to it. I saw some like video clips of it the other day, and then it dawned on me. I was like, wait, hold on, what's stopping me from playing this game? Absolutely nothing besides the price tag. let me get it, you know. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's the in my opinion, many other people's opinions, the best VR game so far.
Oh yeah.
So it's actually a double-edged sword, because after you play it, then you're like, man,
Can't go back. Yeah.
Well, there's other games that are fun. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of good VR games.
Oh, Beat Saber feels like a. Sometimes I have to play like a game of Beat Saber, just like hypes me up, you know.
Like After the Fall is really good. Zenith, the Last City was good. But
Dude, I constantly I can't not play it when I'm playing VR, but it's super hot, dude. That game is I'm hooked to that game. I was hooked to that game before VR was even a thing, because that game came out like years before the VR version came out. Like it was a PC game, and I played it. I was hooked to the game, and it just made sense in VR. God, you feel like a god in that game when you're like pulling off the coolest shots.
So yeah. Resident Evil 4 remake. Resident Evil Village is getting a full third-person mode.
Yeah, what? This is kind of shocking.
You do have
That's
to buy a
interesting.
DLC. It's not free. You have to buy a DLC to access the third-person mode. But yeah, so if you want the old school Resident Evil, which the third-person tank controls, isometric view was that's kind of what Resident Evil was known for
I
before.
feel like it might make the game a little bit easier than what it was when it came out, because it's difficult to hide in first person, in my opinion, or like crouching and stuff. It's because you can't cover as many angles, so you'll definitely be able to like hide and get around easier. I played it in VR, and it was actually less scary in VR. I think I told you. But that's because it was on PSVR, and it wasn't exactly like... Look, graphically, it actually looked fantastic. It was just a bit glitchy, and that broke the immersion, which made it less scary.
Yeah, I want you to play Half-Life Alyx, not only because it's a fantastic game, but there's this one level on it that scared the crap out of me, and I want to see what your take on it is. And it's not it's not horror, right? But it's
jump scary, right?
It's a
dude.
Look, it's a monster.
Facehuggers used to scare me in the original games. Like I used to I had some scary. I got scared in the original games for sure.
Then I think you definitely will get scared at this one.
Dude, I'm the worst.
It's in VR.
Scary
it's
stuff.
in VR.
Yeah.
Then don't put on the headphones, because I put on the headphones, which added to it. Like
I live alone as well, Dennis. So I'm gonna have to do it in the middle of the day. I'm gonna I'm not even gonna use headphones. I'm just gonna use the Oculus speakers.
Yeah, that will actually help in terms of it not being as scary, because I had the whole full headphones on.
I will scream and someone will call the cops.
The immersion in it. Yeah, I had to like amp myself up to play that level. Like I'd be like, all right, come on, all right, you got to do this.
You got to do this. Yeah. I saw some clips the other day that just looked genuinely fun. Like actually, like genuinely fun. Like with the shooting mechanics and stuff. You know what I mean? It looked really good. Like I saw like this guy, he shot somebody in the leg and he started limping. I was like, oh, I love that.
And Metro
mechanic,
Yeah, the combat is great in it. It's like 3 or 4 enemies at a time. Seems like a lot because you're in VR and you got to fight them like for real.
Check multiple angles, yeah.
Yeah, you're doing like real fighting. So
I'm curious. There's a trailer here. I just want to quickly glance through this. What the hell does this look like in third person? Are they going to show us? Oh, no, they're not.
No.
Okay.
I mean, are you interested? Did you buy any of the Resident Evils? The remakes? 2, 3, 7?
Resident Evil Village is the one that just came out, isn't it? I confused that. My bad. I'm confusing that with the one that came out before that.
7?
Yes, I was gonna say sorry, because that one was like very different. You were basically just running away the entire game. You were trying to escape this house. My bad. Resident Evil 7 was the one I was thinking of. My bad. Okay, so yeah, in that case, this makes sense in third person. Like this game, yeah, this makes sense. I do want to play this game actually because it does look like a lot of fun. I was considering picking it up the other day.
All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is Sonic Frontiers. We had talked about it before, about the graphics and how it kind of looked like a demo. Apparently it's kind of open world, but not totally open world. I don't know.
Yeah, they're saying it's open world, but with stage-like elements.
Yeah, like you probably can't like get to certain areas until you complete certain ones, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's almost like.
Yeah, things are gonna be locked off, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Either behind some sort of ability that you either gain later, or just a genuine invisible wall that just goes away after clearing something, is what I'm assuming.
If you actually listen to, because there was a group of influencers and reviewers that got to play the demo, and even though I think it's weird, they're still like under NDA, but yet they could give like impressions, and the impressions were not good.
Yeah, I think I saw one of the people saying that it's like, even like when it's doing that whole fast mode, it doesn't like in your hands, it doesn't feel like you're going fast, and that's so important for a Sonic game, is you got to feel like you're going fast.
They said that from a technical side, it was also not very good. Like the frame rate was not very high. There was a lot of glitches and pauses and whatnot. So even from a technical side, it was not very impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty on the fence about this one. Like once again, I enjoyed the casualness of it. Like I would play this if it was cheap. You know, if this was like, honest to God, if this was a $20 game, maybe I'd pick it up. But the thing is, I know it's not going to be. You know, it's gonna be a
The full
$60
price,
game.
yeah.
And it just doesn't look like that, man. It looks too gimmicky, you know. Even though it is big open world Sonic game, people want that. As far as I know, we haven't seen anything story related that could that could draw me in, you know. Some of it does look fun and casual, but only in the sense of like the same way that swinging does in Spider-Man, you know. I wouldn't buy Spider-Man. Well, I mean, I actually would buy Spider-Man just to swing around the city, but most people wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like it has to have all the other elements involved. And yeah, and the swinging has to be good. And in this case, the running it looks like it's okay, but people are saying that like the speed boost you get, like I said, because I saw one guy review it as well. He said the speed boost doesn't feel that fast, you know, or it feels like it might be too short or something.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is from everything that people are saying. It really sounds like they should delay this because I think they had targeted the end of this year for release. And it sounds like this needs another year or so of development.
At least another 6 months, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and also, you know, you've got the good momentum and the good kind of PR from the movies, you know? The Sonic brand is kind of, it's not as big as it, you know, was when it first launched on the Genesis, but it's probably as big as it's been in a long, long time.
Because of the movies, yeah.
Yeah, don't waste that.
I think it'll sell well on the Switch regardless. Like, regardless, I do think that this is going to end up selling well on the Switch. I have that feeling.
Yeah. But, I mean, even
like, not super well, but yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Don't waste all that goodwill that you have with fans right now with the brand and come out with a subpar game that people are not, you know. Especially
when, like, the past couple Sonic games have notoriously been known to be crap. Well, except for Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was fantastic, but that's because it was basically fan made and they went back to like Sonic 1-2 roots, you know what I mean? They went to their actual roots. Yeah. Not Sonic falling in love with a human woman.
Yeah, I heard that's like not gonna
plot
happen.
Line kind of stuff. There's been some weird plot lines and some weird games, man. I remember seeing a trailer for Sonic, or I don't know what Sonic game it was, but it was like the main love interest was like an actual female human, and I was like, this is wild, man.
All right, let's move on to this next announcement that was part of Capcom's showcase, which is Dragon's Dogma 2 was announced, which was kind of a surprise for people. You know, I
thought it was canceled. Yeah,
I bought the first one, but I haven't played it yet, just because people had said like, "Hey, if you want something very, you know, in a similar vein as Elden Ring, you know,
yeah,
kind of
definitely on the easier side,
dark fantasy RPG."
At the time, like, yeah, the game's fantastic, and I think it does hold up well if you play it. I don't think you'll particularly have the best time with it, only because everything that like this game did when this game first came out, it had a bunch of elements that were new and fresh, but now it's already been done before. Still a good game though. I found the story personally to be the most boring thing ever, but other people loved it so much so that I think it even got a TV show. I could be wrong, or like there was an animated series or
probably
or a movie or something. If I believe on Netflix, I could be wrong.
But this seems like maybe you know better than I because you played the game.
I like there's like a you can mount. I don't know about the second. I'm assuming they're gonna do it in the second game as well. But you could like mount like
enemies.
Like the things
that.
you were fighting. That was a big part of the combat.
Yeah,
which I liked. I thought that was quite cool. Similar to like Monster Hunter, where you're.
This
like,
seemed more like of a cult favorite, right? Versus like a blockbuster hit, right?
Oh yeah, it's got a big cult following.
So I was surprised to see I don't know if it was like the Elden Ring success or what, but it's now kind of when they did the announcement, they didn't show any footage or anything. It was just the developers talking about it.
Yeah, or like I believe there is a bit of footage that they're showing here that I'm looking at, but it's very little.
Are you sure that's not from the first game? me see here. It's mostly the developers.
Oh, you know what that is?
talking.
Yeah, because I remember fighting that thing that I just saw now. Sorry.
Yeah,
I think
because
that is
to
from the
me,
first
I,
game, yeah.
I bet you they greenlit this thing like 2 months ago. They're like, Elden Ring sold that many. All right, let's make a second one.
I heard like I was hearing rumors that like Dragon's Dogma 2 was canceled. Like not now, but like like a few months ago, I was hearing rumors about it being like never happening. So it's for me, this came out of nowhere. I'm happy for it though. I did enjoy the game. Like the gameplay, I really enjoyed. I couldn't care less about the story, but the gameplay was sick.
I'm gonna check it out. I bought it. It was on sale for like $6.99 or $7.99 on Steam, which was
Being built on the RE engine.
Oh, by the way, Steam is having their what's it called? Is it their Summerfest? What is it? Their summer sale, the Steam 3000 summer sale. So there's a bunch of games on sale until July 7th. One I might get is Day of Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice for $30 on Steam. They have Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah. Redemption 2 for $30. Ghostwire is $30 on Steam. I don't know what your regional pricing is, but they've got a lot of Death Stranding is $27.99. Doom is $15.99. Oh, Resident Evil Village is $29.99 on Steam.
I was gonna say my regional prices are fantastic on this, man.
Yeah, you probably are getting way better. Valheim is $13.99, but I heard that's coming to Game Pass fairly soon.
I do love Valheim, man. I love that game. Even playing alone, like the game is so fun if you have like at least, well, in theory, I believe like each world can handle 8 people, so you can have like a whole 8 crew of like Vikings working together, which is cool. The game is so great with multiplayer, but even alone, I love that game.
This is one. I mean, I've already played it. If I hadn't played it already, I would totally get it. Is Titanfall 2 is $4.79. $4.79. I played it on the Xbox One, but this is the PC version.
Elix 2 is on sale. I remember Elix 1 came out and it was very like people hated it and people loved it. It was very divisive. Yeah, that's the term. Yeah. I don't know. I've heard good things about the sequel though, but it wasn't exactly marketed very well. I didn't even know that the game came out until a few weeks ago. Yeah, I still think that you'll love Sekiro when you get the chance, Dennis. Just because, like, I know you enjoyed Elden Ring, and I know you enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima, and this really is like the perfect blend of both. Like Sekiro is the perfect blend of both of those.
Nice.
And the game's all about the parry, just like Ghost of Tsushima. Like it's literally all about the parry. Sekiro's main like combat mechanic is parrying. Yeah, great game though. The story is also quite cool.
$30 for me though is like, it's in that like gray area. Like if it's $20, I'm like, all right.
It's still a bit like I'm just glad I've already played it, because I was gonna say on sale even here like it's 400 rand, which is probably just under $30. Kind of, it's still quite a bit. You know what I mean? Still a bit hefty. I might pick up the Final Fantasy 14 expansion, Endwalker expansion. That's on sale. All right. So yeah, we also got release date for Plague Tale?
Yes.
The Requiem, the sequel. I still need to finish the first one.
Yeah. Didn't you say the gameplay was a little repetitive in your opinion?
Yeah, like, well, it's not that it was repetitive. It's just that it was like very bare. There wasn't much mechanics, which I'm assuming they expanded upon in the sequel. It looks like that, but like the first one had an amazing story.
That's what I want. That's what I want to play it for. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a really good story. And the sequel got me more like excited about replaying the first one and finishing the first one. I want to see those rat mechanics, man.
Did you ever play Alan Wake? I know I talk about it all the time, but did you ever play it?
When it came out, yes, I did. I remember I played it because I didn't have. Wasn't it a console exclusive as well?
It was Xbox console exclusive.
Yeah,
and then later came for PC.
Played it at a buddy's. I remember playing it at a buddy's house. Yeah. I just remember the flashlight. That's it. It was so long ago. I don't remember much besides walking around with the flashlight.
So that's a game where the gameplay mechanics are fun, but they're also limited. You can't end up doing a lot. There's like not that many weapons, and you don't do a lot. But the story is really good, and the pacing is very good. So that's a kind of a game where, like, yes, it definitely needs the story and the characters to push it forward. If it was just kind of the gameplay only, it'd be like, okay. So, but yeah, I feel every time I see Plague Tale, the first one and also the second one, just looks like something I'd be very interested in following the story. It does have a lot more stealth than I'm really like. Stealth isn't my favorite.
I know. You've had some stealth horror nightmares with games.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stealth horror nightmares, the game or that level I told you about Half-Life Alyx is a stealth game.
Yeah.
A stealth level.
Oh gosh. I have to physically crouch a lot, I'm guessing, right?
There's just there's just a lot of hiding in that level, but it's in VR, so it's very intense. It's very like, please don't find me, please.
I believe it, man.
Yeah, but Plague Tale Requiem is coming on October 18th, so it's not that far away. I don't remember. Is this going to be on Game Pass? I know the first game is, but I don't remember if the second one is.
I'm not too sure. I don't think it. I'm not too sure actually.
If it's not, I feel like if it's not a day one Game Pass, I know it's coming on PlayStation 5 and PC and stuff. If it's not Game Pass day one, it may be on Game Pass in the future. And
That's highly likely, yeah.
And remember, they're actually making a TV series. That's how good much like Alan Wake is working on a TV series. They, both are very story-driven, narrative-driven, character-driven. So, not surprising at all. All right, let's move on to the next thing. This one was kind of funny. People were joking about this, even though it is a very serious subject. But the Activision Blizzard internal investigation into the accusations of gender harassment and abuse basically said that they found no evidence to suggest that Activision Blizzard senior executives ever intentionally ignored or attempted to downplay the instances of gender harassment that occurred and were reported. So remember, this is an internal review. So basically, they absolved themselves of any wrongdoing.
You can still unintentionally be a jackass, though. Like, I don't get it. They're like, nothing was intentional. I was like, you could. That doesn't really change anything, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, so I don't know how, Microsoft, who's purchasing them, is going to take this. Are they going to do their own investigations, or are they going to, wait till they're actually bought and then figure things out? Like, I'm wondering what the...
Yeah, well, is this... aren't they still getting... No, someone's still getting sued, though, aren't they? Or getting taken to court by the state of California. Isn't that Blizzard?
Let me see here. I feel like
the initial
Blizzard.
Complaint from the state of California filed after a two-year-long investigation. So they are accusing the company. Ignored or brushed aside with unfortunate. Yeah, that's brutal, man.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, of course they found themselves not guilty. That's like O.J. Simpson. Like, he's like, I'm gonna investigate myself to see if
to see if I did it.
If I'm a murderer. Guess what, guys?
I'm
not guilty. After investigations, I found I'm not guilty. So
That's hilarious.
yeah.
I will say, you know what I want to talk about is because it's never in the news, and I think it should be. It's never really spoken about, but they did announce it a long time ago, which is that Skate 4 is in the works.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
it's been so long since Skate 3. It was a huge, huge announcement because it was, I believe, they like, it was just like a nightmare project for a while, where it was like people were trying to make the game, and like there were so many attempts at making Skate 4. It wasn't until that like I think EA was like, no, we're doing it, and I know it's happening because a lot of content creators on YouTube who specifically make skate content, like they still make Skate 3 videos to this day that get like millions of views, which is insane. The game's more than 10 years old. They're actually like on like, oh, I forget. They made it sound so much cooler. I forget what it is, but essentially they're on like their own little board as overseers of people who are content creators that work with the game. They're like overseeing the game with EA, and they get access to the early gameplay. And I saw some early gameplay, so I'm just excited to know that the game is actually in development because they did leak some. But early gameplay meaning like there was no textures; it was just like models. You know what I mean? But it was more about the fluidity of the skating, and it looked really good. I'm really excited about that. Just wanted to bring that up real quick out of nowhere.
Yeah. My last thing. This is just for fun. People made a mod for God of War, where it's Joel and Ellie.
Oh my
Instead,
god, that's hilarious, actually.
So you can which kind of makes sense because Ellie has the bow and arrow, right? So, and
That's
she's
pretty funny.
and Joel is kind of a god of whatchamacallit, blanking on his name. Kratos, kind of character, right? He's like the father figure. I mean, Joel isn't quite as mean as Kratos, but still. And Atreus is kind of he is the son character versus the daughter-like character. So
that's
just a little fun
it's
thing.
Funny how it works pretty good, actually. Like it works pretty good. That's what I think is funny.
So that's all I have. Do you got something?
I was gonna say I've got a couple small things. I'm not gonna mention them. There's like 3 things I'll mention. One that's really, really sad, for me at least. And like this was kind of big news, and it's so sad. Hopefully though, like people say something about this. And speaking about Skate 3, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake were abandoned after the Blizzard merger. What was it? Vicarious Visions. The whole merger with them and Blizzard. So Pro Skater 3 and 4, the remake, were scrapped, which is unfortunate because the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake was very well received. People loved it. You know what I mean? Like, like even people who don't game anymore, who used to play games like 20 years ago when the game came out, they were like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll play that game. You know? I loved it. I just recently bought it on PC as well. I think I have it on PC and Switch and even on PS4 because I love the game so much. It was like a perfect, flawless remake, but boosted and even better. So I'm really bummed that 3 and 4 is not coming out. I think who was it? It was Tony Hawk himself who said, yeah, look, it was scrapped because of the merger. That's really sad, unfortunately. Yeah, we were going to make 3 and 4. And then Vicarious Visions got absorbed, and they were looking for other developers, and then it was over. That's what he said. That sucks, man. That sucks. Sucker Punch, the people who made
Ghost of Tsushima
thank you, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, specifically that. There's job listings looking for a new open world action stealth game, which is most likely a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Like if you read, it's most likely that. So that's always nice to know. The studio's career page featured listings for a variety of roles, including technical combat and senior combat designers, as well as an encounter designer, which I'm wondering what that is exactly. Like, well, I know like Ghost of Tsushima had those initial encounters, you know, where you could kind of have that dual thing, so maybe that's it. Do you delight in knowing the details of attack and parry timing and count frames? That's apparently one of the questions that they asked. It's Ghost of Tsushima, 100%. Yeah. It's the sequel, so we know that's at least there's job listings for it. They're working on it. This is more interesting. Well, I wouldn't say more interesting, but the source is interesting. So there's Mortal Kombat 12 is being teased specifically by the Johnny Cage actor. Well, the voice actor, I assume, you know. Yeah, Andrew Bowen, the voice actor for Johnny Cage. Yeah, he's on the backlot of Warner Brothers for something. Yeah, I don't think it's got to do anything with the movie sequel. I'm pretty sure it's a game sequel. But yeah, so that was quite exciting too. That's the last bit of news I have.
All right, cool. What have you been playing lately?
Valorant new season came out today, literally a few hours ago.
Didn't you take a break from Valorant?
Out.
From the
I did because of the toxicity, and then it came back and still a lot of toxicity, but you know it is what it is. You just gotta get used to it. Like if you get enough people to play with you, you can avoid it. You know, if you have a full team of 5 people, which is difficult to get, but even then, the more people that you play with, the less toxic people there are. Unfortunately, with ranked, you can't have 4 people and then get into a game because it's a 5 people game, so it won't let you be in like a 4 stack and then have a random guy join you because I don't know why. I guess it makes it unfair. So you can only have I'm explaining it poorly right now. It's a very weird system that they have set up. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. Been playing a lot of Valorant, and let's see what else was it. I think, I know. Hold up now, I'm completely blanking. What was it that I was playing? I was playing I was playing a lot of GTA 5, for like the 100th time, just the story mode because I enjoy GTA 5. Oh, and Dota 2. I don't know. I got so into Dota 2, like since our previous podcast. I don't know how it happened. It just like the Dota bug hit me, man. I had some friends playing it, and I got so hooked into that game. And that game is so sweaty. I don't know what it is. It's like, I thought the older I would get, the more into like slower paced games I would get into. And it's like, it seems I'm getting more and more into these like highly competitive games. I think I guess I just like the adrenaline or something.
Yeah, I think I'm going the opposite way. Kind of more for the single player, story-driven type of games.
I still enjoy those, but I suppose it's one of those things where like competitive games are usually quick. You know what I mean? And the issue with those like single-player RPG games, which I do love, sometimes I feel like I'm like subconsciously wasting my time. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I'm enjoying the game, or like I feel like I can't fully enjoy the game because I'm like, oh, I could be using these hours for like something else. You know, like work or gym or you know. It's a weird. It's like I guilt myself into not being able to enjoy games sometimes. But if a game's competitive enough, I don't have time to think about that. You know, it's just shoot the person or die, go. You know, so maybe that's what it is on like a psychological level.
Yeah, I'm still working my way through Guardians of the Galaxy. I need to finish that before I can move on to other stuff.
I thought that gameplay was a bit repetitive for me, like I said, but I was completely okay with it for the story and the banter.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very deep in terms of the gameplay. Not that it's bad or anything like that, much like the way I said with Alan Wake.
It's perfectly solid. Yeah, it's perfectly solid, you know? Much like how Biomutant, in my opinion, Biomutant's gameplay was actually perfectly fine. It wasn't the most like it wasn't very deep, but it was perfectly fine. However, it was just like the rest of the world, just like they had so much. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking. Anyways, like they could have done so much more with it because the world and the story was just a bit boring. You know, that's why Guardians of the Galaxy you can get away with a basic like. Combat system that doesn't have depth because the story is hilarious. You know, the characters are hilarious, and the game's beautiful. Like actually, like good looking. Like it's very pretty. You know, the graphics are fantastic in that game.
All right, I think that's it for this episode. We'll keep on the lookout for some more news. I expect as this E3 window, even though we didn't have E3, but this E3 window now is kind of closing, that we won't be getting big news from places. I think maybe we'll get some leaks about stuff here and there. But yeah, I don't think we'll be getting big news. We might get some delay announcements. Who knows? I know there was a lot of rumors of God of War Ragnarok being delayed, but some like more reputable sources and reporters have gone out and they've confirmed that that God of War Ragnarok is set for probably a November release. So that seems to be.
Oh, real quick,
on
they
track.
added Naraka Blade Point to Game Pass. Well,
Yeah,
they were gonna add it for a while, but it's like officially there. You can play it now. It's a
Yes.
fun battle royale, like based off of like martial arts, which is quite cool. I like that. And then I'm really upset about this, but they added FIFA 2022. I'm upset about that because I spent money on that less than a month ago.
That's
I got it for 90% off though, like 95%
Okay.
off, because of the whole like FIFA like not EA
Not renewing?
like split thing. EA was like, screw it, we're just gonna put the game on sale for like 95% or something.
Yeah, they're
And
like,
I paid peanuts for the game, dude.
they're
So I
like,
can't
oh,
be that
you
mad.
want your royalties? Here you go.
They're
You-
literally
you
they were
get-
like, we're gonna make sure that everyone owns this game so that no one can buy it and you can't make any money from it. That's
Yeah.
basically what they did. I love
Yeah.
it. Like, why else would you sell a game that came out like not that long ago at 90% off, man, on Steam? I was
That's
like,
the
yo,
reason.
That's shade. That's shade, man. I love it though. Anyway, so that's on Game Pass now as well.
Yeah. All right, cool. I guess that's it. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. You can follow us or subscribe to our podcast feed, which is on anchor.fm and Spotify. You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on the Revog Discord channel. More than happy to talk about games or even play some games if you guys want. And you guys can also find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. I will start streaming again once I get a better following there.
Cool. Until next time, see you guys later.
Later.